I recently watched the documentary Brats by Andrew McCarthy, one of the Brat Pack. And if you're like me and you grew up in the 80s or were teen in the 80s, you know who all the Brat Packers are and saw all their movies. What's fascinating is one guy just wrote an article about them and just came up with the term Brat Pack, and it stuck. And so they hated it back then. They hated that term. They thought they were kind of being called babies because they were too young, and Hollywood never seen this many young actors coming through and being stars. And they didn't like it. And so Andrew McCarthy goes back 40 years later to talk to a bunch of them to find out how did that impact their lives the last 40 years? What do they think of it now? But one of the things he said in the documentary that was fascinating was he said, having that label attached to them, they all felt they lost the narrative, lost the ability to control the narrative of their lives. And they couldn't get it back. And that tag stuck with them through the rest of their life, through the rest of their Hollywood career, through everything they did. They were known as the Brat Pack. And at the time, they didn't think it was very good. But now, looking back, when he talked to most of them, and he didn't get to interview all of them, he didn't get Molly Ringwald or Judd Nelson, but he got a lot of them, and they said it ended up being a good thing, and Ali Sheed even said it was a blessing. That became part of who they were and became how they were labeled. And so it got me thinking, what about the rest of us? What about the narrative of our lives? And are we trying to control that? Does it work to control it? Like, we have social media now, which they didn't have then, so that's different. But can we even control the narrative of our lives, and do we want to? I want to suggest a different option, and that is to let God control the narrative of your life. And what I mean by that is he created you. He created you for a reason. So there's a purpose for your life. And if he has a purpose for you, then wouldn't letting him control that narrative be more fruitful? Wouldn't it make it probably more peaceful? I found that there's just great freedom in allowing God to control the narrative of my life, and to really count on him and talk to him and just inquire of him, like, what is it you want from me? What is the next step in my life? What are the relationships? What are the jobs? What are all the things? Who do you want me to be, Jesus? And there's freedom because it takes the pressure off. I don't have to try to be somebody I think I'm supposed to be. I can just be who he wants to be and let who he wants me to be and let him take over. And so just an encouragement for you to think about that. If you've never thought about the narrative of your life and sort of giving up the control of that, I think it's something worth considering. Have a great day, friends. Live with grace.